May has been a month full of reading and running. I got a hair chop, did some work, saw friends for lovely dinners, and won the best dinosaur light at Time Zone. Best prizes ever! Also got a bunch of sunset swims in while the air is still nice and warm.
Okay, I finally managed to find some books that I've really been hooked into, which is so good because I said I was struggling to find some good reads this year. So I just want to talk about a few of them. The first one is Bolder by Eva Baltazar. This I'm reading for Grandpa's Book Club in Melbourne, so I'm going to have to post this after the fact so I don't leak my review. But this book is beautiful. It is about a woman who falls in love with another woman, moves to Iceland to be with her, and then one of them decides she wants a baby, the other one doesn't, and it kind of touches on how motherhood changes this person. And every line in this is poetry. I underline so many things because honestly, Balthazar is the queen of metaphor and simile. There is so much beautiful language that the read is worth that alone, but it also portrays a bit of a different idea of motherhood and a person that doesn't desire that, but then also how they can enjoy a baby. And I think that connected with me a bit because I am not a super maternal person, yet I've always wanted a kid. And I guess it was interesting seeing how a person can go from being against motherhood, not that I am, to then loving this baby. And just, I guess, the changes. I really enjoyed this and highly recommend, and it's just a short book, so it doesn't take too long to read. And then another good read was actually for my book club up here. Let's see if I can get the cover up. I read this one on my Kindle. There we go. Deep Cuts by Holly Bricknell. The actual cover is red and there's like a texture on it like a vinyl record, and then it's got all the chapter names down here like a vinyl sleeve, so that's pretty cool. Obviously a music related book. It follows a girl kind of in her transition from college into life across the early 2000s, and her relationships with her friends and working musical relationships, and then there is a romantic love interest, and all soundtracked by a list of songs that have meant something to the characters, that explain the cultural movements of the time. I love music and I love books that tie in music, and Holly Brickley has even made a playlist of all the songs mentioned, so that was really fun to be able to read it and then look up the song that they're referring to and kind of understand what they mean. It is a nice nostalgic coverage of the early 2000s and all the bands and cultural moments that occur. Highly recommend this, especially if you're a 90s baby or you just love music. After reading that, I've been really in the mood to go and see live music, especially on a small scale, like just some local bands. And an old high school friend actually hit me up because she's in town, so I'm gonna get ready and go to Miami Marquetta tonight and have some good food, catch up with her, hear what's going on in her life, and see some local artists perform. So looking forward to that.
This is what I wore as my day to night outfit, as I had to do some chores beforehand.
I just ran 14 kilometers, which is really impressive for me, not to flex. But how good are my new towels? I'm obsessed. I love the pattern, love the colors. I am feeling clean, moisturized, fresh. I have started reading The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion, and I'm hooked so far. I've never really connected with Joan Didion's writing. I tried to read, I think, the White Album and maybe Slouching Towards Bethlehem, and I struggled, and I don't think I finished them. But so far this is really interesting. My knees be sore after runs, so massage time. Also, I would like to give a shout out to these shorts. I bought these a million years ago. They have traveled the world with me. They are so comfortable, easy to wash. They dry straight. I never iron them. They are the best shorts ever. They're from Princess Highway. I want 12 more pairs to last me a lifetime. Okay, I'm having a little post-run protein snack of a boiled egg with pepper, salt, and in Morocco, they used to put cumin on their boiled eggs and it's delicious. So I've got a bit of cumin over, and then I got myself a little lemon Madeleine as a treat, as well as a matcha. So I'm gonna have that and sit and read for a bit, and then I'll eat lunch. So I mentioned I've started reading The Year of Magical Thinking. This covers the year after Joan Didion's husband suddenly died of a heart attack and how she processes that grief and deals with such an unexpected event. I've just started it, so can't comment much too far, but it's definitely gripping me more than other Joan Didion books I've read, and I'm keen to keep reading it. It's also a library book and it's due for a turn, so that's an excuse to sit and read for a while. The sky, it's absolutely hectic. The next morning, me and my little soju keyring went for a bike ride along the Northern Rivers Rail Trail, one of my favourites, especially when you get to this dark, cool tunnel.
Central America, I think, and it's
So today we rode from here all the way past here, and now we've stopped here for food.
This is a bit of a party town.
Okay, super quick reflection on this book, what I talk about when I talk about running. Obviously, I have started running this year, training for a race, so this was actually really inspiring. It's just a bit of a meditation on what running means to Murakami, how it helps his riding practice, keeps him fit, becomes a mental thing, and essentially just something he relies on throughout the seasons. Obviously, don't share the same crazy passion for doing long runs that he does. He does some endurance running and triathlons in this, but the meditation on how it fits into his life and how he grows and changes with age and time was really interesting. And I actually bought this one from a market, and I'm definitely going to keep it and reread it at other points during my life. So I just got back from the beach and I thought I was just gonna go have a quick dip before lunch, and The other day, my friend and I were at the beach and we actually rescued a seagull from the water. It was being smashed by a wave and did not look in a good way. So we picked him up and put him on the sand dunes, and we thought he'd like dry off and be okay. But then I went to the beach just now and just thought I'd go check, and he was still sitting there, and it's been 2 days and he was clearly distressed and crying, and I tried to prop him up on his feet but he just kept falling over. So I called the wildlife people and they came and rescued him and took him to Currumbin Wildlife Hospital. So my quick dip before lunch ended up being like 3 hours and I'm starving now. I've made myself a matcha and the top quality of lunches right here. Also, I've been into this band lately called The Murder Capital, and I got the recommendation from Iris Wellen, who is a YouTuber. So thank you, I love it. It's very much Fontaine's DC style, if you're into that. I also finished The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. This was my favorite Didion book that I've attempted and the only one I finished, although it did get a little bit repetitive and boring towards the end, but a lovely meditation on grief and how it affects you, how you keep believing you can bring that person back, and also her daughter's health troubles, which happened in the same year as her husband's death, so a lot to deal with. So a bit of an insightful read. So I went for a run this morning and I was hoping to do 16 kilometers, which is an improvement of 2 from my last long run, which was 14. But I really struggled, and I think it's because I got my period. I always seem to be able to do less physical activity kind of the day before and the first couple of days of my period. So I think that's why I tried to push myself but then gave up around 12 or 13 kilometers because I just couldn't do it this morning. And I'm pretty tired now from it. I treated myself to this cafe in Coolangatta dozen iced choc mint, and I like getting it with an espresso shot. So I treated myself to one of those, which was delicious. The problem is I finish it in about 3.5 seconds. And then I got some of my favorite nigiri. So I'm keen to have this for lunch, just chill for a bit. I'm gonna load up my Kindle with some new books. It is a beautiful day. I had a lot of sun exposure doing my run, so I'm not sure if I'll go to the beach later today or tomorrow morning before work. But for now, I'm gonna tuck into this. The next read I've started is Bad Habit by Alana Portero, and I am not sure how I feel about this yet. I picked it up because there was a lot of commentary about it online. It's about a young trans girl growing up in Spain, I think, like working class neighborhood of Spain, and then how she moves to Madrid and I think finds her crowd. Obviously it's translated from Spanish, and I feel like the language is therefore, I don't know, it's not gripping me completely, and there's some really nice sentiments and it's a perspective that I haven't really read before, so really important. I'm just a little bit finding it tedious, but I'm gonna push through because the things that it's teaching me and a new perspective is really interesting, but I'm just not hooked by the writing, and I kind of want the plot to move a little bit faster. It's covering her growing up, and while that context is important, I'm ready for the bit where she moves to Madrid and finds herself, because it's a little bit sad at the start, but all part of the journey, I suppose. peppermint and licorice tea is a new experience for me, and it was a wild one at first. The licorice gives it like this minty mouthwash taste, but mixed with a normal herbal tea. You get used to it though, it's grown on me.
I spent the last weekend of May in Melbourne, where I attended Grandpa's book club, got to meet some lovely people in this beautiful gallery space and enjoy this gorgeous cheese board. I fell in love with this fur coat, which sadly is very impractical for Queensland. Sangria linen spray was phenomenal, as was this chai. I went for a run in this foresty area of Melbourne, which was beautiful, so nice running in the cool air, and got to see some creatures along the way. I also got to enjoy the autumn leaves, which sadly isn't a thing in Queensland. I spent a lot of time cuddling this muffin, who I miss dearly, and ended out the weekend with a trek up the 1,000 steps, a spot every East Melbourner will know. And that was May, a quiet month full of good reading and the last swims of the season. I look forward to June and all the fun and hopefully good reads it will bring.